turn up. You better be there when I shake. Watch me rockin' if I can't stop. If I should fall, just go ahead. Come catch me, baby. Ooh, I live it. That's my true love, true to love. Ooh, I love it. Crank it up, yeah, yeah. Turn it up on a higher level. Turn it up, we got this.
So today we're here with Darrel from DB Custom Auto Works, who is one of the ones who helped us out with the wrap on the Impreza, which turned out awesome, by the way. We're here with his 2009 Pontiac G8 GT Firehawk, and I don't think a lot of us know what a Firehawk is. It's actually a really rare car with lots of special things going on under the hood. So Darrel, why don't you tell us what makes this G8 a Firehawk?
So this car could have been ordered as a Firehawk, or the dealers actually ordered them as well. But SLP company in New Jersey did this edition, and it includes a supercharger on the 6-liter that makes about 500 horsepower, and then you could have ordered a big brake kit, which this car has, and some of the Firehawks came with manuals, but most of them came with automatics. This is an automatic as well.
So this is a 6-liter LS, right?
Correct.
And it has a Magnuson supercharger.
Yes.
And you were telling me earlier that they only made 23 of these cars, right?
23. This is number 17, and 17 of the cars were GTs, and then they did a GXP, which is a 6.2 liter, and those are the ones that came with the manual transmissions.
Wow. So how much power is this car putting down right now?
The guy I bought the car from said somewhere around 530 at the rear wheels.
And that's on pump gas?
On pump gas.
Holy crap. I bet this thing scoots.
It goes pretty good. It's a lot of fun.
So how'd you come across this thing?
Well, I decided that I wanted to buy a G8. The platform is it's a 4-door, automatic, really nice driving car, V8, rear-wheel drive. So I was doing some searching, and one of my friends found this particular car in Idaho. And so I kind of thought it might be a farce, so I actually called the guy, talked to him, convinced him to meet me in Pendleton, kind of halfway between where he was and where I was, and ended up buying the car on the spot.
Drove it all the way home with no problems. That's awesome. So what, other than the Firehawk package that SLP does, what else is done to this car?
It has coilover suspension, adjustable coilover ride height suspension, and then it has BMR rear suspension and BMR rear front suspension parts, the subframe connectors, all the subframe connectors and all that. It's all BMR parts.
For bracing.
Right.
And then the lower control arms?
Yeah, the lower control arms in the rear and in the front now. I did the lower control arms.
Tell me about the 3-inch pulley on it too.
So it had a 3.3 inch pulley initially. That was where the 500 horsepower was, and somebody before me put a 3-inch pulley on it and did some tuning, and that's where we're at with the tune now.
And then tell me about the DOD Delete.
So this is not an LS2. This is a L76 motor, and it has a displacement on demand, which basically at a certain speed and RPM, the engine shuts down 4 cylinders, and it was supposed to be for economy. A lot of guys will take that out, they'll delete it. This has had that taken out.
So why would you delete the DOD?
It's kind of a weak point in the motor. The lifters fail eventually, and then the upgrade is to do the DoD delete, and then you can do a little bigger cam. They don't really make, well, they probably do, but they make a lot more variety of cams if you go with a DoD delete.
Basically, it opens up your options for aftermarket support.
Right.
That's awesome. So not only is this car fast as hell, but it has the suspension parts and the brakes to support it. So what is it like to drive?
It's pretty amazing. It's like driving a slot car. It just sticks to the road, and it's really fast.
Wow.
A lot faster than anything I've ever owned.
And then tell me about the paddle shifters that you put in.
So I found somebody that builds these paddle shifters, and what he did is he took paddles from a newer, like a Gen 5 Camaro, and took the back cover of the steering wheel on this car and incorporated them into that. And then, so I bought that kit. He provides a wiring diagram. It's basically 2 wires, and it's super simple to install. And basically, when you put it into sport mode on the floor shifter, as soon as you touch one of the paddles, then you're controlling it by the paddle shift. Yeah.
So instead of using the Tiptronic on the shift lever, you can use the paddle shifters.
Correct.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, should we go for a ride?
Yeah, let's do it.
We are about to go ride in a 500 wheel horsepower G8. I know the Super had 500 wheel horsepower, but it didn't have nearly as much torque as this. Holy shit. Wow. That
Rollers are good when the tires are cold.
Man, that you can kind of feel the back end walk around on us a little bit.
It pulls hard.
Wow. Man, that supercharger whine sounds good.
Yeah, it makes all the right noises.
Jeez. And it doesn't feel like you're going that fast. How much does this car weigh?
Curb weight is just under 4,000 pounds.
Wow. Definitely does not handle like it's a heavy car. And that exhaust note is just a perfect tone. SLP really did a beautiful job with the modifications on this.
So yeah, the exhaust, the headers, the X-pipe into cats, and then the mufflers is all SLP,
Wow.
which stands for Street Legal Performance.
Man, and those suspension parts really do make a difference.
It's a little stiff, so I've actually softened it up a little bit. Makes it a little more nice to drive.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm surprised these are actually coilovers, because I've been in cars with coilovers before, and they definitely don't feel as smooth as this. You usually get like a really rough, bouncy ride, but this is, I mean, you can definitely tell there's something different going on, but it's not nearly as harsh as most coilovers.
it's not terrible. And I think that if I wanted to sacrifice the performance part of it, I could probably dial it out some more and make it even more comfortable to drive.
Yeah. So putting it into sport mode, what does it change the way the car reacts when you shift, or?
So in sport mode, it's supposed to go farther between shifts if you don't manually shift it. So there's 2 modes. So if you put it in sport and just let it automatic shift, it's supposed to take more RPM to get it to shift, and it holds the shift on decel longer as well.
Oh, okay.
So then if I were to move the shifter in the sport mode position, then I have full manual automatic shift.
Oh, wow.
Or full manual shift with the automatic,
Yeah.
I should say. And in that same mode, I can have the paddle shifts take over as well.
That's so cool.
So like, and then in the dash, it tells me what gear I'm in. So right now we're in 4th gear.
Wow. Is this a 5-speed automatic?
6-speed
Oh,
automatic.
it's a 6-speed auto. Wow. So this thing's cruising along at on the highway at like really low RPMs then.
Highway speeds are about 1,500 RPMs. The motor likes to run. The transmission likes to let the motor run around 1,500. That's the seems to be the optimum where the torque.
What kind of gas mileage you get?
According to the computer, somewhere around averaging about 16 miles of the gallon. But I think if you got it out on the highway, it would easily do 20 miles of the gallon.
See, and for a 500 horsepower supercharged car, I'd say that's not bad for gas mileage.
My wife has a Tahoe, and this gets better mileage than her 5.3 liter LS Tahoe.
That's pretty funny. This thing really is the best of both worlds. I mean, you got the 4 doors for the family, and then you got the big old V8 up front that just screams bald eagles. This thing's awesome, and it's a nice brisk autumn day. Good dense air for forced induction engines.
It definitely likes this crisp air.
Well, thanks for the ride, Darrell. Really appreciate it. It's a super cool car.
Thank you.
You better grab that tambourine. Bring the bass, we might be weak.